Well, hey, good evening, everybody. Good morning, good now, good whatever on you, whenever you're watching this. Thank you for joining us. This is Tech Tip Tuesday. Here we are already January 10th, and this is our second one for the year, and I'm super glad you guys are able to join us. So my name's Ken Close. I am a member just like most of you guys here in Healy world. I'm an engineer, epigenetic coach, as well as familiar with the Healy technology. So I'm excited to be able to help you guys out on the Q&As. And I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Jake Barron, from the head of operations in Americas. Hey, Jake.
Hey, everyone. Good evening.
Thanks for being here. And we have a tech support rep, Henry's with us, right, Jake, tonight?
Yes, the amazing and great Henry's on the call tonight.
Right on. I already see his lightning fingers coming in the chat there, helping out. So thanks for being here, Henry. I really appreciate that. For you guys that are new to Tech Tip Tuesday, let me tell you how it works. This is a chat-based forum where you put your questions in the chat, and then we bring them live on the call, or our tech support agent, Henry, answers them in the background as well. So we try to unpack things as completely as possible and solve the mysteries that you may be sharing with us. What we can't do is we can't treat, diagnose, or prevent any kind of disease, disorder, or we can't even really suggest any microcurrent programs or Healy programs for such. So then we've got great resources for that, and maybe we'll talk about that as well. So let's get this party started. We already had a question right out of the bat about, are these calls recorded? And yes, they are. Henry answered that. And they are posted in the YouTube page, hyperlinked, and all kinds of cool stuff. So everybody can hang out and check them out. We started that. Well, Jake, you started that YouTube page in January of 2022, right?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, it's been a year. So it's grown a lot, and we've got a cool new feature plan to launch here in early 2023. So taking it to the next level.
Gotta love all that next level stuff. All right. So let's see, what else we got here?
The first question I have on mine, I came back in here after rejoining, but it was, how often do you delete resonance scans in the Analyse app? So that's interesting question. I guess my question would be, why are you wanting to delete them? Because there's not really a need to. I mean, of course, if you have, I don't know, if you have a ton of clients and you're worried about space or sync times or something like that. But Ken, is there any reason why you would delete the scans?
Well, anytime you do a backup, any new content is then uploaded to your cloud, but that's new content. So, if you've done a backup, now the only time it might be relevant is if you're loading onto a new device, a new smart device, and then all the content winds up being synchronized with that new smart device. And that if you have a lot of content, that will take a while. But, there really has not been a restriction in terms of cloud storage space. So yeah, I don't see a real reason. I haven't deleted any of my scans, which, I do refer to them occasionally, but I don't see a reason.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people like to be able to go back, and it's kind of like a historical record of where you started to, what was maybe going on at the time with you versus where you are now. So
yeah. Let's see. There is a question here that says, does someone have to own a product to sell it to downline? No, actually, you really don't. You just need to be a member, agree to the terms of being a member. And in fact, I mean, the interesting story, when I got started with Healy, it was before the United States could even get the product. I knew the technology right out of the chute when it was introduced to me. And so I started my business in other countries. Literally started sharing in other countries before it was here in the US. So So no, you don't have to have a product. I didn't have anything when I started.
No, yeah, it's actually a lot of companies in our industry require you to make purchases with the company, have some sort of auto ship, auto delivery. But with Healy, there's no requirement to actually own a Healy in order to participate fully in the compensation plan. So,
Great question, though. Okay. All right. So, what else we got here? I've got to fix something in my computer here. Sorry. Stand by. You got something there, Jake?
we had a question about, can I run the bands, so the wristbands and the adhesive electrodes at the same time? For example, a gold program and a local pain program. So, that's a it's a good question. If you're trying to use two Healys at the same time, but I would say the recommendation is to not use two microcurrent programs at the same time. I know a lot of people like to pair the coil, maybe a coil program with a microcurrent program, or a MagHealy with a Healy, but in order to follow the instructions for use that are available, I would say you should not be using two microcurrent programs at the same time. I would focus on one specific microcurrent program that you're wanting to use, and then maybe pair it with a complementary coil program, something like that.
Yeah, remember the suggestion is 3 of the microcurrent programs per day. If you're running 2 simultaneously, you're already running 2 of them out of the group. But also think about what's the goal. What's the goal? What 2 programs would you actually pair? In the science of epigenetics, the energetic or frequency influence over the genetic code is from the environment. And so when we are running frequency systems through our body, or we're being influenced by the coil or the MagHealy, or any other ambient frequencies for that matter in the environment, the genetic code that is being passed on to the next cell system to the tune of 800,000 cells per second, the code that reads or that writes the cell structure as being a muscle cell, a bone cell, a skin cell, whatever, that's only 3% of the entirety. 97% is adaptive, reading the environment to allow the body to adapt to its environment. So when you give it frequency information, or even thought information, or emotional information, all of that still is written into that code. So the cell structures become a product of that infusion. So if you're doing a lot, you're going to put a lot of information in there at once. I would highly recommend that you find out what your intention is. What is your intention? Is it clear? And then adjust accordingly. Okay. Welcome from sunny Colorado. I see that in our comment section. Let's see. Carolyn McMicken's book refers to the importance of the concussion protocol. Do we have a specific one? I'm not sure which in her book she's referring to.
Yeah, I don't know that we have anything we can comment on that, but then the next question here about the free flow program, she's saying it refers to the ionic movement in the body. Can you expand on this? So, that is one of the interesting programs that we have within the Deep Cycle program group. And if you open up our Healy app manual, you'll see the official description as far as when to run that program. It says to energetically harmonize the bioenergetic field of the circulation. So it's suitable for use after basic harmonization of the bioenergetic field of the kidneys and lungs, as well as for general energetic stiffness. So that's if that's what you were looking for, as far as, again, we can't compare this to whatever might be available in Carolyn McMicken's book, but that's the official description of when to use that program within the Healy app itself.
Yeah. So again, free flow is it's also preparing the body. Electron flows. A lot of our bodies aren't really used to that. Right. So we have protocols such as the Gold Cycle page to help get the body prepared for using the Healy. And so some of these programs help that in order to, I mean, how many of you guys, when you first tried your Healy, some of the protocols, some of the frequencies and some of the amplitude in which you were using it was quite influential. I mean, you may have felt some really deep stimulation. And then after a while, it kind of seemed to dim down. Again, that's part of that adaptive aspect to the body, that it becomes familiar. So some of these programs have that protocol. Free flow is one. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I don't know if this was answered already, but I shut off Bluetooth while using the Healy 2. And now I can't connect to any of my apps. How do I reconnect? There's a process, right? Did it get answered already? Yes. To turn your Bluetooth back on, there is a link right there. Let's see, we suggest you always follow the steps in the Bluetooth. So it looks like Henry put a link back there for you in terms of how to reconnect that Bluetooth. So when you manually turn Bluetooth off through the app, what you're doing is you're deactivating the Bluetooth chip inside the Healy. So there is actually a component that just activates and just utilizes just the Bluetooth connection between the Healy and your smart device. And you're turning that off. All right. So to turn that back on, you press that on button twice on your Healy and it reactivates. Okay. Marge says, I like the way the recordings are segmented by topic and questions. Thank you. That's all of Jake's staff. He's been doing that from the beginning. Thank you.
Yeah, we have some great help from our team here, not only with somebody within the chat each week, but also Alexandria, our tech support lead here in the Americas, has taken over all the work behind the scenes to segment it by topics and upload these to YouTube. So does an excellent job on that. So thank you, Alexandria. I know you'll be watching this tomorrow.
Yay. Yeah, big kudos to Alexandria. Thank you. So Jane asked, when running local pain for low back pain or sciatica or whatever conditions are, when running those programs, can you place the pads on the same side of the body or should they be on opposite sides? So this is a great question, because when we're looking at addressing conditions within the body, it's a good protocol to put the stimulation in the areas in which the body is most needing it. So, and you'll see that a lot of the little pictures within the app shows you and tells you how to connect the Healy to the body, and based on the program, it tells you where. So if it is some local things and you're trying to address some condition in lower back or the elbow or the knee or whatever, and you want that information, now remember, the frequencies are just information going through the body at the electron level, giving the body stimulus to do its own healing, its own realignment, its own regeneration. That's the body's job. So when you're putting those pads in that local area, it's going to simply affect that local area. Now, I've talked about this before. Our bodies are lined with meridians, and some of these meridians, I mean, they move from top to bottom throughout the entire body. Some of these meridians are only a couple of cells wide, right? And so when you place the pads or even the wristbands from side to side or the pads next to each other, near each other, you're touching many different meridians. So that information is going along that meridian highway and going throughout its entire pathway, because electron flow is omnidirectional. So yes, put it near put it near wherever you're trying to address in the body. Nothing wrong with that. Do your own experiments, by the way.
So I'm going to go back up a little bit here. There was two MagHealy questions that I wanted to discuss. Wait, actually, yeah. So it was from Bernadette. It says, what is the best percentage to run the MagHealy programs? Again, great question here, because with the MagHealy, it might not be as obvious to you versus if you're running a program, say in the Healy app with wristbands or electrodes, where you can feel some sort of sensation if you have it turned up a little bit too much. With MagHealy, it kind of varies person to person how much they actually can feel the magnetic process that's going on there. So and then also, you'll notice in the Healy 2 app, there's not a specific range because it varies. Some people 5%, some people 100%. But the MagHealy, if you actually go, there's actually a recommended range that you can run it at. So again, I'm just gonna share. You can get to this within the Healy 2 app. So if you're going there, you can get to it from the info section within the app itself. You can pull up the manual, but you can also download the PDF in back office. So if you log into your back office, click on the tools, go to downloads, you'll come here, and then if you can sort by manuals. If you do that, you can pull up, oops, I just unsorted because I had it sorted before. You can pull up the MagHealy right here, manual MagHealy. Let's just click download here, and you'll see that we have some details as far as the recommended range here. You go to the programs, you'll see here the intensity range. So it's a very big range too. So it's a good question. If you want to get started here, some of these, the recommended range is as low as 5 to 15%, but other ones are 70 to 100%. So this is a great resource. If you're new to the MagHealy, I know a lot of people have earned the MagHealy through some of our promotions over the last couple of months. So we've got a lot more people out there using it as well, which is excellent. But definitely, if you've not gone through this manual and you have a MagHealy, go ahead and do that. Download it. Keep it on your computer. You can also download it to your phone. And again, it's available also within the app itself. And you'll see some of the things like the water, the recommended intensity is 100%, which makes sense there. But then again, there's quite a range. And again, but even within this range too, it's always best to listen to your body too. Just because it says 70 to 100%, if you feel more comfortable a little bit below that, then go with that and don't try to force it. Ken, anything to add on the intensity recommendations here?
No, I am a proponent for listening to the body. So you've got people need a starting point, and this is a great starting point. So, and then listen to your body. It's going to tell you if you're overdoing it.
Yeah,
and some of the symptoms for overdoing it, it's like, you're not going to die. Don't worry about that. You may feel irritated, irritable, emotional. You may feel agitated of some sort. You even may feel some of the detox symptoms of, if you guys ever had like a deep tissue massage or some detox things, aches and pains, things like that. This is the body regenerating itself. So take your time.
So part 2 of that question related to the MagHealy was, do the flashing lights use up more battery? So sure, something has to power those lights. They're LED, doesn't take a lot of power to power them. But if you're looking for the best battery life, you might want to run it in position 2 instead of position 3. Position 3 is the lights around the outside, the ring. And position 2 is just the 2 top lights, which alternate when you're running. So yeah, if you're 100% concerned about the absolute best battery life, then you'll just run it in position 2 instead of 3.
And there's kind of a tag along question here about any insights on charging, do's and don'ts with MagHealy. So like, just like a good workhorse, you go out in the field and you work that horse, you bring it back, feed it, rest it. So kind of look at your battery the same way, use that battery, right? But you want to It's a really good form to deplete the battery completely, charge it completely, deplete the battery completely, and charge it completely. Some people are just leaving their Healy or their MagHealy on the charger. That's going to have some adverse effects long term. So you're going to want to cycle that battery through its full charging sequence. So in other words, charge fully, deplete fully, charge fully. That's a sequence. You're going to want to do that regularly. I recommend doing it at least 3 or 4 times a week, very regular. Same thing with your Healy, by the way. I know you can run the Healy only, you can only run the Blue Dot app with the Healy plugged in. So, you know, if you're going to run the microcurrent app, this one up here, you're going to have to charge it up, and it won't work with its when it's plugged in. But same thing with the Healy. Charge it fully, deplete it fully, charge it fully. So those are the, I guess, do's and don'ts.
Two more MagHealy related questions here. Lots of MagHealy topics today, but you know, I think both of these are related to the MagHealy database in the Analyse app. So this was something, I think it was back in November, where it suddenly appeared for like one day for a few people, and then it was removed because we were kind of just testing some things out. And we said it was going to come back, and it came back. I think it was end of November, early December that it came back for everybody. It's now a permanent part of the Analyse app database. And, you know, of course, the question is, a couple of questions. You know, someone asked why is the MagHealy listed in the Analyse app? So, I mean, you can run a scan. If you do have a MagHealy, you can run a scan just for within the MagHealy programs to see which ones would be best for you to run. And then also, just like with a lot of our other programs, where say you might not have some of the add-on program groups. Maybe you don't have the Power of 3, or you don't have Healy Watch, but you can use those databases which are available within the Analyse app, and you can vibrate those programs even though you can't run them with microcurrent within the Healy 2 app. So it's kind of the same thing with the MagHealy. You know, of course, you can't run those programs within the MagHealy and get the benefit of maybe the dual frequencies with the make-in programs and things like that, or the water activation, but you can vibrate those within the Analyse app, just like you could some of the other ones.
Let's look at it this way too for a moment. What's the difference between vibrate mode in the Blue Dot and transmit mode from the MagHealy? There's quite a big difference here in terms of how you're addressing the environment. In one case, in the Blue Dot case, you're addressing the environment through the means of quantum entanglement and the client. Okay, so you have a client specifically picked, and everything, any database you choose and everything you implement in vibrate mode is going to be intended for that client. All right, just that one client. And it's going to be sent to the client through the information field. Now, this is critical separation right here. The information field is a infinite field around all things, all waveforms, and whether it's the body, whether it's a plant, it is infinite intelligence, I guess you might say. It is what science is now discovering as the God field. It's really contains consciousness as well as information around each one of us humans. So there is a blueprint for everyone. All right, there's a blueprint. And Einstein said in his theory of relativity, or his theory of observation, let's put it that way, he said that matter doesn't exist without an observer. So in other words, everything is energy until the moment a consciousness observes it into material form. So there is a consciousness of all information. And what Healy is doing with the Blue Dot is it's looking at the database. It's looking at the infinite field of information and the client and building a bridge of alignment between what you represent in the information field, AKA your perfect form, and what you represent in this three-dimensional form. And it's building this bridge via the frequencies within the database you choose, whatever that database is, if it's MagHealy, if it's whatever you've chosen. Now, when you start the vibrate mode, it starts to send those to the information field, not necessarily to your body, but to your energetic field of the body. And it's not until this consciousness, this mind, this brain, this thought process starts to observe the material body into form that it actually exists. Okay. So you're giving this information via the blue dot into the field, your perfect field, to align all things. And then you go to work with the mind to either align with it or misalign with it. You can sabotage everything you do by thinking improperly. This is the consciousness that has the involvement within energy and matter. In other words, observing energy or the waveform into particle, aka the matter of the body. And the reason that some bodies are in disorder is because the way they think and the way the mind is infusing content between the information field and the body. It's misaligned. So Healy's trying to go to work through the Blue Dot app to align that. So you got to get on board. You got to get on board with that thought process in the mind to be sure that you're in alignment with what it's doing. So again, irrelevant of the database, it's projecting content into the information field so that then can come through the observation of consciousness into matter. Different than when the MagHealy sends magnetic energy out of its quantum sensors, 2 of them, by the way, into the field. It's now sending tangible magnetic waves, measurable. You could get measuring devices around the MagHealy, and measure the magnetic waves coming out of it. And they are propagating omnidirectionally within a certain area. I mean, there's an epicenter in which they're transmitted, which is right there at the MagHealy. But then they go out, Healy calls it an effective range, 3 meters, but it goes out infinitely. It's just got this effective range. And when your body is in that effective range, your body's the antenna, standing there as an antenna, and those magnetic waves are being infused into the body, and the information is literally speaking to the water molecules and the electrons in this body and changing the structure in that form. So a little different. Anything you want to add to that, Jake?
No. That was great, Ken.
Okay. Here's a question here. It says, do you need to record your vibration in Aura Scan more than once? Now, okay, let's get this right. Recording your vibration is done within the client database in when you set up a client. Okay, so now you have a vibration of the client. That's where you put your picture in, the name, where you were born, when you were born, all the content for the client. If that's what you're talking about, do you need to re-record? You can, but remember what I just got done saying. The reason I said what I said first, and now we're addressing this question, is because when it takes that reading, that vibrational reading, it's reading you from the information field. Okay, the perfect signature of you. It's another aspect to the GPS coordinates. Let's put it that way. And it's being so you can re-record it. Over time. I wouldn't think about you need to do it weekly or anything like that, but you can. And then, if it makes you feel better to have a new, fresh recording, then do it, because your belief structure is what's part of the consciousness that's either allowing or disallowing your healing. Okay. Remember that. Okay. Jake, you got something?
There's a lot of questions tonight. I think we're usually pretty caught up, but we got a bunch to catch up with here. So thank you everybody for your questions. These have been really great tonight here. So let me see. I went back up and now I'm trying to find where we left off here. So Here's one. It says I have 2 iPhones and 3 Healys. I loaded the MagHealy app and all 3 Healys on both phones. When I was doing a remote scan or a remote and got too close while running a program on myself, they switched programs. Not only that, I had to remove the app to get the Healys reloaded to get them to work. But my problem's now that one of my Healys will not connect on either phone after that happened. Any suggestions?
We just heard about this, didn't we? Remember,
Yeah.
this was a very odd thing, and I'd never heard of it before, but now here we got the second one. Something to definitely look into with programming. If a program is switching Healy hardwares, because, and then remember what happened with this new app is we can run multiple Healys at once. Now, if something is allowing a glitch to transfer program protocols from Healy hardware to Healy hardware, now we have an issue with the app. This is a good thing to look into. It's new, by the way.
Yeah, and again, I'm just trying to think, because in our office, we have a ton of people running Healys all the same time, and that's a good environment to kind of test that in, but we have not had that specific issue. But yeah, we'll certainly follow up and look into that. Again, it's one of those things where if you can't duplicate it, it's hard to
exactly
hard to kind of figure out. But
and what IT would need, let's go back to what IT would need to try to figure this out. It would need, first of all, it would definitely need the 2 serial numbers in which the programs were switched on, what the programs were, which ones the programs were, and maybe any screenshots, timelines in which they were run, any actions that were taken by the person on the smart device, any actions that were taken during that, if you were like open the app and you were telling it to look for another Healy, something like that. We'd need a lot of details, because from a engineering perspective, it's a unique condition. And again, like Jake said, they got to be able to duplicate it in order to analyze it.
yeah, I'm wondering again, if I'm just thinking now on that particular issue, if they, let me go back up to the question. I'm just wondering, as I mentioned, it was the MagHealy app, or the Healy 2 app is what it's called now. And it says when I was doing a remote. So I'm wondering if they're doing a remote scan, that would be in sort of the Analyse app, not the MagHealy app.
Well, people are actually running programs for an intentional person in another region with the MagHealy, or even with the Healy, by the way. They're and this is quantum entanglement, where you could take a picture of a human or a picture of something, place your attention, and essentially direct Healy's attention or MagHealy's attention on this entity, and then run a program for that. So this is what we would classify as remote transmission. This is quantum entanglement, and the person on the other end is also part of the involvement that says, I'm ready to receive all these conditions, and boom, now you're linking to another area. So yeah, it is another way that people are experimenting and using this hardware and technology. Again, you're still doing it from a smart device, from a Healy hardware or MagHealy hardware. Multiple devices. I would be very curious as to all the details about how that happened. This is the second time we've heard of it, folks, by the way. So this is why it's good to bring this stuff here. Sometimes these are isolated, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're repeatable. Okay.
The question I have here says, wondering if there is an update to include all the Healy programs. So I do not have any past the deep cycle from 2020. So if you're wondering, like some of the newer programs that have been launched, like say Soul Cycle, that type of thing. You know, they're not. These are, some of them are included. Some of the additions have changed as far as what comes with them since 2020. So there has been updates to what comes with a standard resonance, even with the professional as well. So there has been some updates to that, and then the newer resonance devices. You know, there's some things in the older resonance devices from 2020 that aren't available as a standard in the newer resonance devices, and then vice versa. There's some in the newer ones that aren't available in the older ones. But as far as an update to give all programs to resonance devices, all the newer programs to resonance devices from 2020, that type of thing, there isn't any sort of update like that. Of course, you can upgrade your device to maybe a professional, something like that. A lot of times there's promos and things. We had a really great promo back in November related to upgrades, but there's not like a single upgrade or update that gives everyone access to all every single new program.
No, and even when the new professional stuff will be the Deep Cycle H.
Yes, yeah.
Which the Deep Cycle itself, that one is relevant to the old, well, I don't like to say how old, let's say the Pioneer Healy editions, and that's you're not going to see that. Well, actually I won't say that, but it's going to be on the microcurrent side less than the blue dot side. Okay. I mean, again, there are some, I don't have any anymore, by the way, that have the Deep Cycle. They have the Deep Cycle H on the blue dot. I don't know of anybody right now that has the Deep Cycle still in the blue dot.
Yeah.
But you can have it in the pink dot because it's an archive. Okay. Where are we? Let's see. If running coach for someone else, when writing their intention, is it necessary to try to feel the emotion? This is a great question, because this goes into subjectivity versus objectivity. Okay. Healy is an objective observer. There's no judgment. There is no ego. There is no relevance to right or wrong. It's just information. Like I mentioned, the information field. Look at the information field. We as a personality, as an ego, as an understanding, as an awareness, we have judgment. We have beliefs. And so this separates us. There's nothing wrong with that. But Healy has no separation between its infusion of output and its source. Its source is infinite. It's essentially the electron field. It's the information field. So what does that mean? That means that we, as an individual that's doing something for someone else, simply needs to be out of the way. We're subjective. Our emotions, our thoughts, our beliefs are probably in the way. Okay. I mean, even though I'm not saying anything bad about you guys, I mean, there's just amazing healers out there, amazing practitioners out there, but still, no matter how great you are, you still present a certain level of subjectivity because you are a human form in space and time. This AI system is no human form in space and time. It's not limited by the laws of physics. Okay, this is the quantum field. All right, so so my suggestion when doing something remotely for anyone is just to get out of the way, have nothing to present. Let Healy do all the work. And then now, when you go to read the interpretations and you go to review that with the person, well, then your expertise is going to come in to see the insight of the results and the content. Your insight is valuable. But while you're doing the analysis, be as objective as you can and let Healy do its job. Okay. There's a question about, can we enroll people who don't want to buy products, but want to sell for our link? Yeah, we talked about that earlier. You don't have to buy a product. You can enroll as a member and create a $1 million business if you want.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see.
The question about, so do you need to run the Healy 2 app with Bluetooth on? It was easy to turn off in the Pink Dot app. It's actually easy to turn off in the new Healy 2 app as well. You know, it's in a different location, and of course it looks different, the whole appearance and user experience. But if you just, when you're running a program, click that little icon in the top right, where it's a little like a battery indicator. Just click on that, and then you'll see a battery indicator will pop up on the screen. It'll tell you your serial number, how much battery you have left, and then there's a little toggle on and off for Healy Bluetooth chip. And if you want to turn it off, you just click on that, and then the chip within the Healy itself is turned off. And that was the thing that Ken mentioned earlier about pushing the power button 2 times to turn that back on.
I'll show it to you guys. We'll just do a quick little demo here.
Yeah.
We'll let's see, share the screen here, and we'll do a quick demo just to show you how it works.
Yeah, it's very simple once you know where it is. So
yep, exactly. Okay, so on the app, you've got the Healy app at the top left there. Tap on that. I'm already running a program. The reason I'm so smart is because I'm running this program right now in memory. But anyway, let's go out of that program, and let's take a look at the top corner. You got that little battery icon. Tap on the top corner, top right battery icon, and there it is. You see that? And so you can toggle that little switch off. And when you toggle it off, it'll turn the Bluetooth signal off. It'll shut down the chip itself. And to start that back up, you actually have to hit the power button twice. So now remember, what does that mean? When I say power button twice, if you press and hold for 1001, that's too long. So if you go 1001, 1001, that's actually an on off. So just quick, press, and done. Or as Henry mentioned in the group, in the chat there, press and hold it for 15 seconds. That resets it back to factory settings, which means it turns the Bluetooth on. Okay. So simple, right? Okay.
yeah.
All right. Let's see. Where else are we? Are we caught up?
I don't think so. It doesn't look like it on mine. We've got 15 minutes to get caught up and get through everything. So let's see what we can do. There was a question about somebody that has some metal implants, something in their wrist and then also in their hips, and they were wondering, they can't use the wristbands because they have metal in their wrist. And then someone mentioned using the wristbands on the leg. They were asking basically where they can put these, you know, if you have metal, because one of the instructions for use, it says not to put the electrodes in the vicinity of any sort of metal implants. So in the case, if they've got metal scattered all around, it seems, but just keep in mind, you don't need to only use the wristbands. You can use the adhesive electrodes, which gives you more flexibility as far as where you want to put them. So it doesn't have to be just your ankles or just your wrist. Adhesive electrodes can be used anywhere, you know, by your shoulder, you know, the upper back, whatever it is you're trying to work on there. Ken, any tips for someone that's trying to?
One of the I think one of the most important factors to understand is that we're not running the electron flow through the metal apparatus. So if, let's say that the metal apparatus is in the wrist, right at the joint, put the wristbands up higher on the arm, and now you're avoiding current flow, because the current flow is going to go from band to band, or electrode to electrode, or sticky pad to sticky pad. And so if the implant is in the pathway of current flow, that's where the concern lies. People have metal implants all, you know, different places. And so I look at it from this perspective. What am I trying to address? What condition in the body? Is it systemic or is it acute? Systemic means system-wide. So if it's system wide, I need to implement the frequencies throughout my entire system, AKA body. And remember what I said earlier? You have meridian lines that run tons, infinite numbers of meridian lines. Again, only a couple cells wide throughout the entire body. So if you were to put the sticky pad, from say brachial plexus, to side, you're going across the spinal column, you're probably getting the entire system, right? So first thing is, what's the goal you're trying to attempt to achieve with the program? What's the purpose? If it's an organ, making sure that the meridians of the body are being addressed by the frequencies and the flow of the current. But like Jake said, the sticky pads are phenomenal for getting that. You can put these wristbands around the ankles. It's not as convenient for walking around because you got the wires connected down there. But, and I'm going to give you another little hint. These wristbands are Velcro, and you can get Velcro extension strips. Okay. I've done this where I've put the wristbands around my biceps because, depending on this diameter of your arm, these wristbands aren't going to go around certain parts of your arm or your leg. But you can get extensions, Velcro extensions. And as long as the conductive strip, the backside, is contacting the skin properly with the proper tension, you're going to get current flow. So be creative. You can get these thin, over-the-counter Velcro strips and make your own extensions. It's pretty cool. Okay. Again, it's not recommended that you put them around your neck or over your heart. It's not.
Yeah, there's actually a good video in Academy on the Healy app that shows where you cannot place the electrodes too. So that's definitely one to check out. Just log into academy.healy.world and go to the Healy link at the top, and there's a video there, overview of how to use it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. There was one I saw here. Well, let's go here. Okay. Been using my Healy since September 2020. But for many months, green light would not go off after fully being charged. Then reset it to no avail. Now won't hold a charge or work for more than 10 minutes. Your advice, please. Yeah, there is a protocol for resetting that. Let's see. I was just kind of going back down from that to see if Henry already put that protocol in there, but I don't see it. So there is a protocol for resetting that charge cycle. Maybe we can get that put in the chat there for you, for Lynn. This is Lynn's iPad that was asking this question. And it is a very distinct protocol of resetting your Healy, charging it through a full cycle multiple times. And that kind of brings that back up to
yeah. Right after you reset it, the battery is not going to be properly calibrated. So yeah, it's going to take a few full charging cycles to get it properly calibrated there.
Yeah, and remember that little icon, that little battery indicator icon in your app is simply an algorithm. It's just a part of the program. It's a routine within the app. It's not actually measuring the voltage in the Healy hardware because there's no connection. It's all done through the Bluetooth. So it's calculating a lot of information from 0 voltage to max voltage and the typical amount of time in which that depletes based on certain characteristics, aka the current flow intensity, duration of the program, stuff like that. So again, it's an algorithm. You have to reset that. And one of the interesting things is that sometimes the program says that the battery is 0, but the Healy's still running, right? It's like, wait, how come that's true? There's no battery. Why is the Healy still running? Well, it's because that algorithm, that calculation is off. It's mismatched. Okay. Let's see. Andrew, are you just making a statement here? Says, I think Bluetooth program used nonlinear protocol. It sent a word into quantum fields. Meaningful word has ability to give affection to subatomic particles, and it entangled and entwined into the same time. Yeah, again, we're talking about quantum entanglement. The information that you're seeing, when you read the results of some of the scans, that has value in terms of our brain's interpretation, our consciousness interpreting it, and then how it infuses its influence over our biology. So words are powerful, thoughts are powerful, intentions are powerful. We give our power away, I think, too much. We relinquish responsibility of what we do, think, and say in too much. It's always somebody else. It's always outside of us that's causing the things inside of us. And that's not true. Healy knows this and is entangled with that concept. Okay.
There's I like this question here because I had not thought about it before, but how within the HealAdvisor app, if you're doing a search and you have a program, you can actually start that program from within the HealAdvisor Search module. You click on Start Program, then it takes you to the Healy app to run that program. And someone was asking, now that the Healy 2 app has kind of replaced the Healy Pink Dot app, will it be phased out to where when you start that program, it goes to the Healy 2 app instead of the Pink Dot app? So, and Henry already put the answer in the chat here, so thank you. And because it does go to the new Healy 2 app when you click Start Program. And she mentioned that it was on her iPad, I think it was, where for some reason it was going to the Healy Pink Dot app. But I would just go ahead and delete the Healy Pink Dot app. If you're have converted fully over to the Healy 2 app, and you're having that issue, if you delete the Healy Pink Dot app, it definitely won't go there. It would open up in the Healy 2 app. But make sure also that your HealAdvisor app is fully updated to the most recent version. Maybe on your iPad that one hasn't been updated and it's got some older programming in it. So I would make sure on whatever device you're using that HealAdvisor app itself is the most recent version.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Geraldine says, do you have any suggestions as to how to get my Healy connecting that I lost when the Healys switched programs? I'm not sure we're talking about if you lost a Healy hardware and you found it, and if you had it replaced in the interim. If we've lost a Healy hardware or we damaged a Healy hardware and we got a replacement for it, the lost or damaged one is now obsolete. That serial number has been shut down. And the new serial number assigned to your account. So it won't function anymore, if that's your question. Okay. Izzy says that I still have both deep cycles in my blue dot. Right on. Okay. Yay. But I'm imagining you only have one of them on, your different versions of hardware in the Pink Dot, the old archive one versus if you have a new one. Okay.
There's a question from Bernadette. Says, I have 3 Healys and one of them has a program called Courage in the Analyse app. Why only in that one? So that's a question. So I think it was starting August 1st of 2022. The Courage app came with all it was part of the residence database for any devices purchased August 1st or later, and it replaced the vital substances database that was available before. So if you had purchased before August 1st, you had vital substances and that stays with your Healy. But anything after that has the Courage database. So that would be The other two that you have must have been older ones from before August 1st of 2022.
Okay. What is the process to transfer a Healy in my name to another owner? So there is actually a process for that. It's in our shop, on the shop page within the customer support portal. Let's see. And I think Henry addressed that. Submit a support ticket. And there is actually a drop down for transfer. And you'll need the recipient's information, such as their username. You got to have it. They have to have an account within Healy so that you can transfer that serial number. So there's a process for that there on that page. Okay. So it sounds like Dory got something working there. Thank you guys for putting in your success stories here. All right, where are we?
Let's see, I'm trying to think. We only got a couple minutes left here, so I'm trying to see, make sure we cover everything that we can.
There's a placement question here. Irma's asking, I see you're wearing the wristbands with the clip on the underside of your wrists, and the picture in the Healy shows on the top. Okay, the wristbands, it's going spherically around the entire wrist, and the current flow is omnidirectional. It doesn't matter where the snap is. If I have it at the bottom of my wrist, the top, the side, doesn't matter. When it comes to the wristband, you can place it anywhere in that circumference. I put it under because it's least likely to be in the way when I'm doing things in my life. And the picture actually shows the little sticky pads with the electrode clipped onto it. Again, sticky pad, same thing, can be on the top, side, bottom. I have hairy arms, so I wouldn't put the sticky pad on the top. I have no hair on the bottom of my wrists. I can put it there, but again, the sticky pad and the wristband are kind of, when it comes to the wrists, are interchangeable. So you can put either one, the wristband or the sticky pad, and it doesn't really matter where you're placing them as long as you have current flow on the app. Okay. All right. Anything last minute lightning round?
I think we may have finally caught up right at the 9 o'clock mark.
So, and Henry did put that battery calibration system on there. Yeah. So by the way, folks, if you're on your PC and you want to save the chat, because there's good content there, links and remedies, right in the chat there, right next to the little face icon, there's 3 little dots. Tap on those 3 dots. It opens up the opportunity for you to save the chat. And at the end of the call, you'll see a pop-up window that says save chat. You can save it to your browser, to your desktop or wherever. So you can keep it. All right. Remember, this is going to be recorded, or it is recorded. It's going to be posted on the YouTube page. You'll be able to review and go back to unpack any of the answers, and you can pause, take notes, all that kind of stuff. All right.
Yep. Those recordings again are available on the Healy World Americas page on YouTube. You can get to it directly by going to HealyAmericas.com.
All right. Last question here real quick. Izzy's asked, pads vertical on the same side of the body. Okay. Yes. If you're just trying to address that space. So from pad to pad, remember the current flow is only pad to pad. All right, you guys, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Much love. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Ciao for now.